Hello and welcome to another reaction video. So you would have to be living in the deepest cave under the tallest mountain, 10,000 leagues under the sea to not realize what's going on in the United States right now. And I am talking about the 2024 presidential election. Election day is tomorrow as the time of this recording, but you are watching this on our election day, and I thought I would do a special reaction today. Now, the title is a bit rough. It is Comedian Suffers Lethal Dose of Stupidity from Delusional MAGA Idiots. Now, I will refrain from name calling as much as possible. No guarantees, because that doesn't get us anywhere anyway, and I don't want to stoop to their level. However, there's few words to describe them that aren't very derogatory, to be perfectly honest. So I'm going to be reacting to a bunch of MAGA people talking the talk that they talk. I am, or used to be, a longtime Republican. I had voted Republican many times in the past. If you know anything about me now, you know that that is definitely not the direction I am leaning during this election. I want to see progress in our country. I don't want to see violence in our country. So let's just see what kind of things these people have to say, and I have a feeling it's gonna be kind of rough. So let's just start. This is gonna be a tough one to watch.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way.
Okay, right off the bat, I will tell you that it is extremely difficult for me to listen to this man talk. It's rough. But, I mean, this first statement he's saying, that the enemy comes from within. Now, a lot of the rhetoric that he says, or has said, could be lines in Hitler's Mein Kampf. If you don't know anything about that, look it up. But it's the same exact rhetoric that's coming out of this guy's mouth. It's disgusting.
Totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
He's literally saying that he would unleash the military on American citizens. I can't stress that enough, how terrible that is.
He's already set the wheels in motion. His followers simply follow the playbook.
So if Kamala Harris wins, you will trust the results?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And do you think Donald Trump will say, hey, I lost?
No. No, I don't think he'd give up.
So you think even
Okay, well, at least this guy says he will trust the results, which is more than a lot of them say.
if Kamala Harris wins and it's fair, Donald Trump will say, hey, it's rigged, I won?
Probably. Probably. He's got a very big ego.
Does that bother you at all?
No.
Totally unfazed. This is where we are in America in 2024.
You were the first senator to object to the votes.
Mm-hmm.
In 2024, will you certify the election results? Do you plan to object, or will you accept the results regardless of who wins the election?
So, Caitlin, I got to say, I think that's actually a ridiculous question.
It's a yes or no question.
And the minions are sent out to show in interview after interview that they will try and pull the same trick as they did in 2020, but worse.
Okay, these are politicians. That's a politician. He's a terrible politician. He's a terrible person. But for politicians to say that's a terrible question, no, it's not. It's a legitimate question. It's a yes or no question, and he cannot answer it. That's what we're dealing with in this election.
which of course leads to this.
My faith in the justice system went downhill when Joe Biden took over.
Okay, so what do you have faith in anymore?
I don't have faith in the FBI. I don't have a lot of faith in the Secret Service. I don't have a lot of faith in the CIA.
So democracy, the justice system, the Secret Service, the FBI, and the CIA?
You keep saying democracy. I haven't said that once. I'm good with democracy.
Well, no, but you said you won't trust this election if Trump doesn't win.
Correct.
They brainlessly follow as long as it's the sports team mantra. Red team go, blue team bad.
Do you feel like Donald Trump is a threat to democracy or not?
Not at all.
Now, would you trust the election if Kamala wins?
I'm not sure. I think if she wins, they cheated.
Okay, so, this is going to be a tough one. They're just repeating what Donald Trump has brainwashed them to say. They can't think for themselves anymore. They are beyond that point. Now, when people say it's Cult 45, it is a cult. They are brainwashed beyond reason, just like any of those religious cults that have happened in the past or currently happening or will happen in the future. It's the same exact thing. They stop thinking for themselves. They stop seeing reason. They stop looking at facts that are staring them in the face, and they just blindly follow some guy who says this is what you need to do and think, and this is how it's going to be, and they do it. I don't understand how these people don't have any thought process of their own. I seriously. And I have friends and family who are in this camp.
So, does that make you feel like maybe Donald Trump has eroded your faith in democracy?
No, Donald Trump hasn't eroded my faith in anything. He's been right about everything.
Right, but because of the last election, you're saying you won't trust this one because he won't concede the last one, you won't trust this election.
I believe they cheated on the last one.
If Donald Trump wins the 2024 election, will you trust it? Will you believe that it was fair?
Yeah. He's got to be too big to steal. He's got to win by a lot.
If Kamala Harris wins the 2024 election, will you trust the results?
No, because where's her rally? She doesn't, nobody's for her.
Well, I mean, she's not having one here today.
On that democracy point,
Trump wants to be a dictator, and I can prove it. Trump said the first thing he'd do as president is reissue his 2020 executive order, allowing him to fire up to 50,000 federal workers without cause and replace them with people who would be loyal only to his agenda. It's called Schedule F. His allies have already been pre-screening thousands of potential replacements to see if their ideologies align with Trump's. Anyone who doesn't want to test the limits of Trump's power will be rejected. If this happened, every federal agency from the EPA to the DOJ to the CDC to the FEC would be controlled by MAGA, undermining their independence and bipartisanship. Instead of the current system where employees are chosen through a competitive hiring process based on merit, they would be chosen completely based on political whims. He'd undo a system put into place in 1883, more than 140 years ago, that helped reduce corruption within the federal government. Trump's agenda echoes exactly what's in Project 2025. The difference from Trump's last term is this time they've developed a clear plan. So even if we ignore his admiration of dictators, that he intends to deploy the military against U.S. citizens who disagree with him, that he's threatened to jail political opponents, that SCOTUS has ruled he's immune from official crimes, that he allowed his MAGA mob to threaten Mike Pence for upholding the Constitution, that he said parts of the Constitution should be terminated, and so much more. He's made a clear plan to change the system of government to grant himself more power so he can continue to skirt accountability.
Shout out to Now This for the breakdown. It's a clip everyone should have saved in their minds because it is laid out rather well.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
See, and what he's doing as well is he's been doing this for a while now. He's setting the people up to already think that the election isn't going to be fair. He's put it in the people's minds now that if they win, it's rigged. They cheated. And if you think January 6th was bad, I can't imagine what can and might and very possibly could happen if he should lose, and not by a landslide, because I do not see this election going a landslide either way. Both of them are pretty tied. I don't believe all the polls because they can be skewed one way or the other depending on which side you're on. all the polls I've seen, the numbers are within the margin of error, which means that just because they have a 3% lead on one side, that's within the margin of error, which means it could very easily swing the other way. So he's already put all these ideas in the people's heads that if I don't win, it's rigged. They cheated. So he's planted the seed a lot earlier. Last time it was after the fact because nobody thought that it would become a thing until he lost. Then it was, hey, they cheated, it was rigged, it's all rigged against me, everybody's against me. But now he was able to plant the seed early. So now gentlemen like this here on the right, they've already made up their mind that if he wins, oh, it was a free and fair election. If he loses, no, they cheated, it was rigged. It's just, it's stupid.
Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about. And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal.
Let's also not forget what this man and his cohorts did to rile up a crowd on January the 6th and try to overthrow democracy the first time.
Ever been into a Trump rally before?
No, I watched it on television.
What brought you to this one?
Support
Yeah.
against any snipers or any danger. We shouldn't be feared to express our feelings.
You're here to support against any snipers?
If there's something that's going to go on, you know, people shouldn't be feared to come here.
What would you do? Well, how would you support?
I'll give up my life. If there's a bomb in this flower pot, then that's mine.
So you're here to die if you have to?
No fear, yes.
Okay, wow, it got pretty dark, huh?
Yeah, it got cloudy.
Yeah, but also the subject matter of the discussion.
Yeah.
This is symbolic of how far we've come. People saying they will die for this man who could not give a flying you-know-what about them, just their vote.
Former President Trump spreading unfounded claims that members of the growing Haitian population in Springfield, Ohio, are eating animals. City officials say there's no evidence of that. Overnight, Ohio's Republican governor saying there's no evidence of the claims.
This is something that came up on the internet, and the internet can be quite crazy sometimes.
Haitian immigrants here shocked and hurt. This man, too frightened to show his face or use his name, says co-workers at his construction job have repeatedly asked him if he eats cats.
This is Trump's America. This is the Republicans' idea of America, putting targets on the backs of the most vulnerable for political clout. It's absurd and should be rejected to the fullest. Instead...
So you know people who a friend's pets got eaten in Ohio?
Yes.
You have their names?
No, we'll get it out there. Don't worry.
So eventually the people will hear about it?
Eventually.
Like when, though? Because right now it just sounds like it's not true.
Because it's fake news.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like it's fake news. Yeah.
It's fake news.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's fake news.
It's fake news.
So it is or it isn't?
It's fake news.
Yeah, okay, so it's fake news about the dogs and the cats. That's kind of what we thought.
You have
okay, so these people aren't very bright. There's a reason why a large portion of his fan base are uneducated white guys. Now, there are a lot of educated MAGA people. And I think there's a difference between being educated and being smart. I can go to school, I can go to the most prestigious Ivy League school ever and be valedictorian, top of my class, whatever, but not be really smart.
Baseless claims such as these spreading like wildfire, and folks on this side of the aisle cannot discern fact from fiction.
You are a pastor, and this is your truck, right? And what's the message that you're spreading out here today?
Well, you know, everybody's got to be involved in saving America and standing up with President Trump. You know, God uses imperfect people, just like he used Samson, and just like he used King Saul. All of God's people are used who have sin and who have imperfections, but they repent. President Trump has given glory to God, especially after the hand of God.
I don't have any words. First of all, he's not President Trump, ex-President Trump, former President Trump. He's Donald Trump. He's not President Trump. Right now, it's President Biden. I hate it when people keep referring to him as President Trump. He's not president, and he's not gonna be.
Saved him with the assassination attempts now that two of them that have happened unto him. We can't just sit idly on the sidelines and allow satanic forces to take over our children and family and our values. We have to stand up for our values and our godly values.
Let's talk about this movement for a moment. One former right-wing operative wrote, Sean Moon is a violent cult leader who wears a crown of bullets in public speeches while holding AR-15s as sacred objects. He's also a major Republican power broker in Pennsylvania. This is the kind of person Donald Trump wants to run America.
Oh, is that it? Is that the end? No, it's not the end.
Well, this, Tucker?
Yeah.
He's my hero. And then right under it says, stop liberal intolerance. Putin wants to go back to good morality. He doesn't allow all this crap about genders and pronouns and crap.
Do you think these views have to do with Tucker Carlson?
Did she just, like, praise Putin? And these pronouns and crap. All right, bitch.
Welcoming Vladimir Putin?
That's your new pronoun.
No. I say we need to get out of the Ukraine-Russia thing. Let them work it out.
So you would vote for Vladimir Putin over Joe Biden for president of the United States?
Holy
I would.
shit.
I'd rather have a corrupt Russian than a corrupt Biden.
It's been well over a year since alleged Russian asset Tucker Carlson's ouster at Fox News and the end of his nationally broadcasted white supremacist power hour on the network. He then moved to the hellscape that is Elon Musk's Twitter, not calling it X, obviously, to spread his lies further. His podcast now sits in the top 5 and top 10, respectively, on the Spotify and Apple charts, largely because he speaks to and reaffirms the bigotry and white supremacist attitudes already present in the MAGA base. Still one of the most influential and dangerous propaganda artists of our time. Let's check in on Tucker and how he's campaigning to re-elect someone he hates to his core, Donald Trump.
It's the party of weirdos, of envy, of hate, of resentment, of bitterness, of weakness, of a total lack of creativity. It's a party of conformity. It's a party of the machine.
Come on, man, that's no way to talk about your own fans. But he's savvy enough to know that the irony of this insane take will go over the heads of everyone in the crowd.
Every person in this room needs to understand you are not in a despised minority. You are in an incredibly gentle and tolerant majority who put up with this crap for way too long.
It really says something about your loyal base of support when you have to infantilize and coddle them this much to reinforce their worldview. But that's what we're dealing with from this party. Now, contrast Tucker's sweet talking with what he said immediately following.
As they insulted not only you, but the memory of your ancestors who died for this country. They tore down statues to their memory. People have never built anything in their lives. They went out of their way to humiliate you and spit on you and the graves of your ancestors. And that's not an exaggeration. They did that. And this country is so nice, it's so polite, it's so thoughtful and empathetic and sweet. It's the kind of country that loves dogs and gives directions to strangers, that we put up with it for 4 years. But we can't anymore.
Well, and there it is. Tucker's classic white supremacist propaganda rearing its ugly head and being laundered by Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA as a legit political talking point, just like Fox News did for years. Tucker is playing directly into the false sense of victimhood the MAGA base thrives on and relishes in feeling, with the perpetrators, of course, being left up to interpretation. But we all know the groups of people he's talking about. Now, if you thought this speech was already off the rails, get a load of this.
If you allow your 2-year-old to smear the contents of his diapers on the wall of your living room, and you do nothing about it, if you allow your 14-year-old to light a joint at the breakfast table, if you allow your hormone-addled 15-year-old daughter to, slam the door of her bedroom and give you the finger, you're going to get more of it. And those kids are going to wind up in rehab. It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. No. There has to be a point at which Dad comes home.
Just look at the reaction from the crowd. This is not serious political discourse or a pitch to improve the material conditions these people live under. It's all theater meant to distract them from the policies ruining their lives.
And Dad is. He's not vengeful. He loves his children. Disobedient as they may be, he loves them. Because they're his children, they live in his house. But he's very disappointed in their behavior. And he's gonna have to let them know. And when Dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now. And no, it's not gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. No, it's not. I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna hurt you a lot more than it hurts me. And you earned this.
What the hell is
You're
this?
getting a vigorous spanking because you've been a bad girl. And it has to be this way.
It's hard to put into words how gross, weird, creepy, perverted, and flat out uncomfortable it is to hear one of the most influential political pundits in the country talk about the presidential candidate he supports, yet despises on a personal level, as an abusive father who needs to punish his children, aka the American people, for disobeying him. Under the surface of Tucker's projection and perversions, this is straight up fascism. Propping up Trump as the ultimate and only source of authority his base should follow gives way for him and his inner circle to openly push for authoritarian policies with zero pushback from the inside. And in the rare cases when pushback would happen, he would then easily purge whoever dissented.
If they do all of that, they need to lose. And at the end of all of it, when they tell you they've won, no. You can look them straight in the face and say, I'm sorry, Dad's home, and he's. Thank you.
And now that Tucker is no longer with Fox News, he can freely spread his election denialism conspiracy theories unchecked to get ahead of the upcoming election. Tucker has untold amounts of power over the psyche of the MAGA voter. And we saw that power on full display immediately after this unhinged speech.
He started to say that if Donald Trump were to win, it would be like, quote, daddy's home, daddy's coming home. And he said that Trump, like God, loves all of his children, talking about the mainstream media, in his words, and Democrats, and said that Trump would need to give them a good spanking. Now, this is something the crowd went wild for here. There are thousands of people here. And when Trump came on stage, as you can see speaking behind me, they started screaming and chanting daddy's home and daddy dog. So this is something I have not heard at a Trump rally so far, but I can tell you the vibe in the room tonight does almost feel like a mini RNC.
If you don't think this is a cult, well, you really need to do some self-reflection.
Okay. Holy crap. That was disgusting. That was perverted. That was... I don't have any other words. Here's the issue, not the only issue, one of the issues I have. In all of these rallies that Donald Trump has put on and all the speakers and everything, the only thing they can talk about is the other side and how bad they are and how these people are eating your pets and how they stole the election and wham, wham, wham. Not once has he ever discussed any policies. And actually, in the latest debate with Kamala Harris, he has a semblance of a plan. That's his policy. We have a concept. That's what he said. We have a concept of a plan. You don't have shit, buddy. You have no policies except for to tear apart every other policy that's been put in place to protect people. To put all these people in charge that will bow a knee to you. Every single rally, it's woe is me, everybody hates me, they're cheating, Kamala's rallies are AI generated crowds, they aren't pulling in anybody, my crowd's bigger. No policy speaking. Here's what I would like to see happen, which will never happen. A, commercials off limits. Neither side can do commercials about the election or the other side because they don't give us any substance. They don't tell us anything. All it is just making crap up about the other side. Yes, both sides do it. They cut and splice pieces of interviews, rearrange them, redo it to make it look like their policy is the exact opposite of what it actually is. Anybody can do that. I can get on this video, cut it up, splice it up, rearrange it to make it sound pretty good, sound like he's on our side. No commercials, no lobbyists, no more money. You raise this shit on your own. No big corporations can donate millions and millions of dollars. No more buying people's vote. And then third, and there's a lot more, but only top three, the Electoral College needs to go. We do not vote directly for the President of the United States. We vote for people within the state that if they get those electoral votes, then they win that state. I think it should be one vote, one count, right? So every single vote, popular vote only. If you got the most votes, you win. If you didn't, you lose. It's pretty simple. But these people just spewing this hatred and this violent rhetoric, and then they look at the other side and say, you guys need to calm down. You need to stop with the violence. Excuse me? We aren't the ones doing it. And I say we as on the left. I don't identify as Republican or Democrat. But the left is saying, hold on a second. We aren't the ones that are threatening the media. We aren't the ones threatening other politicians, telling them they need to go out on the battlefield with 9 barrels pointed at their face. How did this country get to a point where this type of rhetoric is acceptable? What happened? What happened with the American people to say, oh, that's normal, that's okay, they can say that? Is it freedom of speech? Because fuck your freedom of speech. Because that does not impose, that's not more important than my freedom to live a happy and healthy life. So I don't know where this country, where we split so far. It's sad. Okay, so that video really, I didn't realize it went into other things besides MAGA delusional people. Started talking about sports. So closing thoughts on this election that's happening as you watch this tonight. I am terrified, but hopeful. I want to believe that Kamala Harris will win. However, I am terrified about what will happen next once she is declared the winner. 1, Donald Trump will not concede. We all know that. 2, what will his supporters do? I'm terrified of the aftermath. I'm also terrified that if he should win, where this country's headed. And not only this country, what people, I guess, many people do realize, but there might be some out there that don't realize this. This isn't isolated to the United States. If Trump wins, this will affect global relations. This will affect everybody in the world. The economies in Europe will feel the effect based on his opinion, falsely knowing what tariffs are. But if he all of a sudden institutes tariffs on all this stuff, this will affect everybody. So this isn't just isolated to the United States. So I'm terrified about that. But I'm hopeful that we can get away from that. Get away from him once the dust settles, once the smoke clears. Let's start taking this country in the right direction. Now, I'm not 100% on board with everything Kamala Harris believes in or wants to do, which is normal. Nobody's going to be perfect. But I feel like that's a good start. And over time, maybe we can start mending and healing this country, because it is broken. It is split down the middle. Families have been torn apart. Friendships have been torn apart. For what? This isn't politics anymore. This was not politics a long time ago. This is morality. This is being a decent human being, doing the right thing for your fellow human being. Forget about politics. It's all about taking care of each other. And that's what this country needs. So, wow, that was intense. That is going to be the only video I do on the election. I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna get an ulcer. But I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave your comments down below on what you thought about this video and what you think about the United States and the election that's happening now. I want to hear from both sides. I do. Just keep it cordial. You know, as soon as there's hate spit out there, you're blocked. You're done. You're out. I don't have any tolerance for that. But if we can have civil conversations without being mean and backing our arguments up. That's the other point that I'll make before we leave, is that if you have an argument on one side or the other, please be prepared to prove it. Bring scientific evidence. Bring scientific articles. Bring whatever. Don't just regurgitate what one side or the other has to say, because it's not working for me. With that, thank you for listening to me ramble on about this. Thank you for your patience. I really got worked up on this one because this means a lot to me. My family and I are moving out of the country, no matter what happens with this election. And I would rather it not affect me when I leave. So, if you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more reaction videos, please remember to hit subscribe. Hit the bell notification if you want to know when they are uploaded. And I really do appreciate your viewing and your time. I appreciate you very much. Have a good day. We'll see you next time. Bye.